You thought that everything would be fine once you started taking Ozempic or Mounjaro or Wegovy, that the weight would just fall off. But guess what? Food manufacturers are not going to let you go that easily.
Massive food corporations are secretly creating foods that circumvent the side effects of weight loss drugs like Ozempic. Drugs like Ozempic and Wegovy have the side effect of reducing hunger and cravings, and many people who take these drugs are simultaneously seeking a healthier lifestyle. Analytics find that since the launch of GLP-1 medications for weight loss, Americans are purchasing less food, and what they are purchasing isn't from big-name companies like General Mills or Kraft Foods, and those companies are feeling that in their bottom line. Now, this could be correlation, right? In 2023, there's a massive resurgence of clean eating trends on social media and politics, so these profit dips could be a combination of things. Either way, the food companies are not happy with this. But in response to Americans wanting to get more healthy, the snack industry isn't creating healthier alternatives. Instead, they've hired a man named Justin Shimmick to oversee the creation of products that bypass the side effects of GLP-1 medications. And by the way, Justin Shimmick is the perfect person for this PR-wise. He's a larger man and claims that he struggles with his weight too. And while he may be large, he's also incredibly rich and made food corporations millions of dollars by pushing this story. So here's what Justin's doing. We already know that food is addictive, and a lot of the junk food we eat, like Doritos, releases dopamine to our body. But GLP-1 meds regulate that dopamine release, making those foods less appealing. So scientists are trying to create foods that circumvent the powers of Ozempic to get people addicted to their food products again. No matter your position on these weight loss drugs, I think we can all agree that this is a perfect example of corporations preying on vulnerable people who are trying to get healthy.
I'm Rosemarie Havsom. I'm back again to let you know that you can take full control of your life by what you choose to put at the end of your fork. So it was all over social media and the media as well about these amazing new GLP-1 weight loss drugs. So there we had it. We had Ozempic, Wegovy, and Mounjaro, and these were created. Well, initially they were supposed to be created for people with diabetes, and then when people found out about the weight loss side effects, people went insane because they couldn't get enough of it, to the point where Ozempic was no longer available for people who actually needed it for their diabetes. What has happened over the course of time that people have been using these GLP-1 semaglutide medications is that people have stopped buying so much food, especially ultra-processed foods, because they're now taking on a healthier journey, which is great, except for these large food corporations who are feeling it in their bottom line. So they said, all right, this is enough. We've got to do something to make sure that we're not going to be suffering because people now suddenly want to become healthy. So guess what they are doing right now? Right now, they are trying to figure out a way to block GLP-1 medications so that even if for the time being that you were on these GLP-1 medications, you started to have less cravings or no cravings for ultra-processed foods, you didn't feel hungry, so you didn't have to eat as much, and there was so much less just mindless eating. This has created a void, or a beginning of a void for manufacturers and large food companies. They want to make sure that you keep eating. What they're doing is they're putting together a chemical mixture that is in the food. It's not labeled, and it's on that huge list of components that make up all of ultra-processed foods to keep you hooked, to keep you like an absolute addict who needs to have these foods that you thought that you'd given up. Now, what's interesting about all of this is that how quickly this has become the reality, that you're not allowed to be healthy, especially in the United States. And especially if you're a Black American, forget it. They're coming for you too, because we know that Americans who are Black happen to be 50% of them are obese, not just overweight, because if we factor in overweight and obesity, then those numbers go up to 80%. 80% of all Black Americans are either overweight or obese. Now, if we look just at the obesity statistics, then we see that women, Black women, are 60%. 60% of Black women make up the statistics for obesity. And in a lot of cases, it's morbid obesity. And that is that then is contrasted with Black men, where 41% of Black men are obese. Compare that with a white counterpart, and it's only 42%. So, what is this saying to us about Ozempic and GL1P blocking foods? That says that your health doesn't matter. What really matters is what you provide to the supplier, which is the large food corporations. Imagine a corporation that is so greedy, pun intended, that they want you to continue to feed them while they feed you more poison, allegedly. Isn't it interesting how the pusher gets offended and has to find a way to keep their customers coming? Unbelievable. So we'll see what happens with these foods and how quickly these foods are ushered out. Ultra processed snack companies, food corporations decided that we are going to fight back from Americans wanting to be healthier. And I'm looking at you, all of you who are taking GLP-1 medications. There's nothing against what you're doing, but you just need to know the side effects. Now, let me just run through the side effects again for those who didn't hear about it before. So, of course, we've heard about stomach paralysis. We've heard about bowel perforation. We've heard about intense pain, diarrhea, constipation, vomiting, depending on where in the digestive tract the food is stuck. A lot of times with these semaglutide medications, another name for GLP-1 medications, is that the food is slowed down into the stomach. So that keeps you feeling full longer, but the food is also putrefying in your stomach if it sits there too long. Yes, we know we have stomach acids in there. That works on, especially on meat and meat products. However, the slowing down of digestion does come with some risks. Now, other risks that come from semaglutide is things like eye strokes, where blindness is a factor. Did you know it's a side effect of using GLP-1 medication is blindness?
Hey, As and Shan there, my friends. Dr. Allen here, and today we need to talk about some concerning new research that just came out about the medication Ozempic. Ozempic, or semaglutide, is a frequently prescribed medication for patients with type 2 diabetes, but is also sometimes prescribed off-label for weight loss management. And the new research, what's concerning is that they show a heightened risk for patients developing a serious blinding eye condition called NAION. NAION is short for non-arteritic anterior ischemic optic neuropathy and is essentially a form of an eye stroke. And unfortunately, when this happens, it can cause serious and permanent vision loss.
But people are still running to these medications because they're seeing the benefits. They're seeing the results and the fast results because people want quick results. People are not patient anymore, apparently. But when you see now that these side effects are causing people to have other medical issues, then it makes you wonder, what is the true benefit of these semaglutide medications? But fast forward back to the large food corporations where all they look at is the bottom line. And you've got to get back in line so that their bottom line is looking a lot better. Justin Shimek is in charge of trying to find a way to reverse the effects of Ozempic for all of these large snack food companies, corporations. So we'll see how he does with that. But the problem with all of these shenanigans is that it's not going to be labeled on your food. So you may not even know that you say, okay, maybe one day I'll just have, I'm feeling like chips. Maybe I want to grab a bag of chips. But those chips could have an ingredient in it that makes it so that you become a slave to the food once again, because you become a slave to the chemicals that are firing in your brain to make you want to have more and more and more. Some of these foods have contained so much chemicals that it increases your dopamine. The dopamine hit that you get is so high that you have to keep going back. Just like an addict, you have to keep going back again and again and again to try and get that same high that you experienced. Now, that's really not fair to the people that are really trying to work on their health and to get healthier. And when it comes to Black America, we have to do even more. We have to be more more strategic, and we have to be more stringent about what we're doing to control our health and our health outcomes. Now, one thing I just wanted to leave with you, and that is for African Americans, Black Americans, remember, if you are a descendant of a slave, there's something to be said about epigenetics. And remember the epigenetics of the foods that were good for you before our forefathers were taken from the motherland by force to be slaves in the New World. There's something to be said about the types of food that people are then being introduced to, the slaves were being introduced to, that had effects on their health. What do you think that's going to do with how people age all of the centuries later, and what sorts of illnesses they're more prone to? Remember, if you have a particular way of eating and living, your body is sensitive to foreign foods and foreign ways and foreign habits. So these could all contribute to things like obesity, high blood pressure, type 2 diabetes, and high cholesterol. More research needs to be done on that to find out if that's in case the fact. What you can do to make sure that these corrupt food corporations allegedly are not going to sabotage your journey onto health, because your health is wealth and it's worth it. You see, there's always something that comes every single time a supposed gift comes along from the pharmaceutical companies. You'd better believe that there's going to be side effects that you're going to be paying for. So let's keep that in mind. Keep on with your healthy habits to create a better legacy for yourself and for your children and your family. What do you think? What do you think about this whole thing where food corporations are trying to outsmart Ozempic and other GLP-1 medications to keep people hooked on ultra-processed foods? Comment that below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to this channel. And remember that I too have a YouTube channel. It's spelled Havsom, Hav for Victor, SOM for mother. We'll continue the conversation there to your good health.